or anything like that.
Okay.
Okay, so question number 1. Education is a lifelong. How do you maintain your enthusiasm for working with students, particularly during challenging times, and encourage them to take ownership of their learning beyond the classroom? And for you as well.
Okay. Education is a lifelong journey. How do you maintain your enthusiasm for working? I am reading the question. My signal is a little
Okay.
bit, yeah, slow. Okay, first and foremost, as an educator for 13 years, I have a lot of experiences with different students. So for them to have their learning inside the classroom, first I will make sure that I know what kind of learner I have so that I can apply different strategies to this learner. It's either this learner is a visual or kinesthetic learner. To ensure that there is learning inside in my classroom, um, I will apply differentiated instruction inside my classroom. I maintain enthusiasm or working with my students by making sure that my lesson is fun and of course it is in line with the state standards. And another thing is that I will make sure that I will always I will always update my students about what is the latest trend, especially I'm handling junior high school, the latest trend about the topic, for example, literature. Okay, we will have literature. So I will connect our lesson to what is popular movies right now, so that I can get their um I can get their attention, because most of my students are really not into the lesson, especially if they are not interested. So first I will get their attention so that I can motivate them. So by motivating them, by getting their attention, and by making sure of knowing what kind of students I have, then I can apply the right strategy for my student. In that way, learning will come in. That's it.
Thank you. I'm just finishing up a sentence and then I'll ask the second question.
Oh,
Okay, this one in the chat for you as well. Family engagement is a key aspect of successful education. How do you ensure your work support your students, families, and their learning journeys?
yes, I also do believe that one that family engagement, especially the parents, the guardians, should be involved in the learning achievement of my student. So first and foremost, in the start of the school year, I will have this parent-teacher association or conversation where we will have a meeting with the parents, and of course to get to know them, what kind of family my students will have, and they will also know what kind of advisor or teacher I am and what kind of school we have. Yeah, and at that time also I will get their contacts. It's either in the Philippines we have Facebook or Messenger, mobile numbers, to make sure that I will update the parents or the guardian about my students or what is happening of my students inside the class. Especially if ever there is an emergency inside the class, I will let them know immediately. That's the first um, that's the first step I will have every year. Then after that, along the way, quarterly, we will have a parent-teacher meeting also. So that is In a year, we have 4 quarters. That's first to fourth periods. Now, at the end of every quarter, I will invite again the parents to come in to see what achievements their students will have. Now, if I will see that the parents or the guardians is, not very active in coming to school or getting to know their students, or um, I usually use the term the absenteeism parents, or the busy parents. That's the time that I'm going to have home visitation together with our guidance counselor, so that the visit will be legal. So together with the guidance counselor and sometimes the principal, we will visit the home of my parents to talk with the parents and to let them know what are the achievements, or sometimes the problem of their child in the class. And yeah, that's it. Every quarter. Then along the way, if there is an emergency, I do have this one last year where the student is having a fight with another student inside the class, and it's a really big fight. So I really have to let the parent know or the guardian know what happened. So I have to call, or I have to text, or I have to message them in the messenger so they can come into the school. Yeah, so those are the steps that I will make.
Thank you. Response. I can get into question 3, and I will put that in the chat for you as well. It is, what does being anti to you, and how do you actively integrate anti-racist practices into your work? Please give examples.
I understand that in other countries, especially in US, this is a diverse country. Um, Especially inside the classroom, I will have a different kind of students. In
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna pause. That's okay.
Okay,
Okay, I just have to ask you a clarifying question, and then we can come back to this question.
sure, sure.
I did notice on your application that there was the Philippines. Is that where you're currently located?
Yes, yes, it's 11
Awesome.
p.m.
And
here.
oh, thank you for making the time.
It's okay. It's okay.
Um, I didn't, and I'm so sorry that I didn't do this at the beginning of the interview. We just received guidance on this,
Mm-hmm.
but I wanted to make sure that position if we are able to move forward. So we were to talk about would you require any sort of sponsorship if position?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I believe they said that for that to the recruitment fellows email, and you will actually connect with them to speak about different paths. So I'm not sure. Do you mind if we take a brief 2-minute pause and I can try to get an answer on something, and that will not come out
Mm-hmm. And
of your
also,
interview?
yes, and also please can you tell them that I am connected to Teachers Council. It's like a visa sponsorship.
Yep.
Yeah, Teachers Council. I already passed their interviews and
Okay.
pre-screen. Okay, thank you so much.
So, so in other words, would they maybe give you
I
the
don't know. Maybe the Teachers Council will connect to the school and the legal team will
Okay,
talk
so
to
let me
them.
just double check and make sure that we can continue then. And so if you got the job here, the Teachers Council might work with them to give them
Yes, yes.
that or something. It's called Teachers Council. Okay, let me write that. And then, because I just basically your time today if you have to do it again.
Okay.
Let me chat with them. They did not get back to me yet. So what we can do is still do the interview if that's okay with you.
Yes.
I do believe BPS, Boston Public Schools themselves, does not provide sponsorship. So if you were offered a position, Boston, I know Boston Public Schools. I think that's what they told us. But it sounds like if that organization, like if you had a visa, Boston Public Schools would be more than happy to have you. It's just I think that they don't have the ability to provide one themselves. But we're also supposed to refer you back to the. Either way, we can. It's up to you. We can complete the interview, and I can refer you back, or we can. I can refer you there and see what the next steps are. Either way, if the next steps are for you to take one, we can always reschedule an interview. But I know that you've taken the time now, and we're on different times. So if you'd like to complete the interview, we can do that, and then we can see what the next steps are.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. So I will just write down the time that started and stopped. That way, you don't lose any time. So that was about 5 minutes, and we started. So this would be over at 11:40. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we can go back to the question of what does being a and how do you actively integrate anti-racist practices into your work? And please give examples.
Okay. I understand that in the United States, you have diverse culture in there, different kinds of culture, different kinds of students, and in one setting in a classroom. So the goal of anti-racism or anti-race is to practice fairness, um to erase discrimination inside the classroom. As a teacher, I need to see that my students will feel safe and learning will comes in if they will see that inside the classroom they are free, they are safe from discrimination. First and foremost, I will set some rules and regulations about that discrimination. So it's not really allowed inside the classroom. We will have some policies and some punishments if ever my students will do that. So rules and regulations. If ever there is really a scenario that will happen and it's not controllable by me, then I will call the school authorities or the principal on what will happen or what will I do about that certain kid if ever discrimination happen inside the classroom. Because so far in my years of experience inside the classroom, the only thing that happened about or that when we say discrimination is being rich and poor inside the classroom. I think it's also discrimination, and I hear, and it really is seldom to see a student that is fighting and talking against their classmates that they are rich and they are poor, because I usually have a fair class in or a fair class or a fair, how do I say this one, um, a peaceful class, and discrimination rarely happens inside my classroom. But if ever I will come in there and teach a diverse culture, I will really set some rules and regulations and punishments and call the authorities if ever that happens inside my classroom. So yeah, I guess those are the steps I'm going to make.
Thank you. And we can do question 3, and I can drop that in the chat. Question 3 is when fostering an inclusive classroom that encompasses facilities, identities with various cultural, linguistic, and socioeconomic backgrounds, what strategies, resources, and do you use to encourage them to feel valued, heard, and respected?
Okay. First and foremost, inside my classroom, as I have said earlier, I need to understand, to know about my students. I need to study them as an advisor, and to see what kind of learner he or she is, to see what kind of family he or she has, and what type of strategy should I use so that learning will comes in. In a diverse culture, of course, I have different type of student. I understand different languages inside the classroom, rich or poor, different levels of learning. So I will study them, and what learning tool. First and foremost, I usually use differentiated instruction because I have slow, I have fast learner. So differentiated instruction is very common inside the class. So for the fast learner, I will use some extra activities so that he or she will not get bored inside the class. For the slow learners, I will have some remedial classes, or I will have some special activity that will support if ever there is some lacking of learning uh, in his or her subjects. For example, in English, so during her free time, I will provide some learning materials, some reading materials for the students. For the socioeconomic backgrounds and some diverse linguist or diverse cultural linguistic. As I have said earlier, I will set some rules and regulations inside the class so that there will be no fighting, no conflict inside the class. I believe that as a learner should feel safe, a learner should feel that they are heard by their advisor. So you need to make sure that you really know your student, so you really know that you really show to them that you understand their life. For example, before I have this student, she's really not capable of going every day to the school because of they are how can I say this? They are poor. You know, they don't have the money. She cannot eat her breakfast. That's why she cannot understand the lesson we have every day. I know that because I study my student. I study their background, their family background. So what I did to that student, this is very true. I will provide something to eat if I have extra money. Because here in the Philippines, we don't have free food, we don't have free lunch. So as an advisor, if I have the capacity, I always bring biscuits, I always bring food for my students to have something to eat, and they will understand the lesson because they really cannot understand if they are very hungry. And I will provide chocolate drink every morning for those students who don't have breakfast. So I will bring, food or a drink so that somehow, they will have a full stomach and they can understand the lesson that we will have. So those are some examples and steps that I usually done inside my classroom. Differentiated abilities. Okay, so those are the examples that I have and my experience as a teacher. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and our fourth and final question. I'm sorry, fifth and final. What are your thoughts on the evolving landscape of education, and how do you support staff evolving to meet these changes?
Right now, 21st century students are very active in the use of technology. That's why the Department of Education applied some new curriculums, or they have this seminars, workshops for the teacher to cope up with this kind of students. So the Department of Education is also evolving so that we can catch up of what kind of learners we have in this 21st century. And they are making right now 21st century teachers, and I am one of them. And technology is really, you know, in use right now inside the classroom. So we have these seminars, we have these workshops on how to use this type of technology and on how to handle a visual learner, an audio learner, a kinesthetic learner in the use in terms of using technology. To tell you honestly, my school is not that rich. We cannot afford a very expensive technology. So as a teacher, we are the one who will provide laptops. We are the one who will bring radios and microphones inside the class. Yeah, but that is also very effective on my students. We are still using technology. The staff or my principal or the administrators in the school is very supportive. They are very supportive. They will help their teacher in any possible way. For example, by sending them to the seminars, to the workshops. Even though that's very expensive, they will do their best, to send one teacher over there. And of course, when the teacher comes back, we will have re-echo so that whatever we will learn there, we are going to spread the information inside the school so that everybody will know. So they are very supportive. And to the extent that the principal will allow us to borrow her personal TV inside the classroom so that the students will have PowerPoint presentation inside the class. Yeah, so they are very supportive, and I am very happy to have one of those kind of principal. Um, so that's it. Yeah, education is evolving. My principal and administration are very supportive, and teachers as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me just finish up this last part here. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, so one of those questions was from the paraprofessional pool. It's answer, the last one. The other questions were the same. I can read that one to you now. And you can basically piggyback off of your last answer. I think what you would need to add is well, you spoke about your professional learning. So if your answer for the last question, if you're at this question, I can put that for this one if that's okay with you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And do you have any questions?
Yes, I really do. I'm so worried about this visa sponsorship. Yeah, I'm hoping that your school is really, sponsoring whatever it is, J1, H1. I really hope.
For Boston
Yes, for Boston.
Public Schools?
Yes.
I know Boston Public Schools, they told us recently they're not able to
Oh
sponsor
no.
a visa.
But you're connected to
Mhm.
to any like J1 sponsors like the API, TPGs, um, no.
So that sure they may be they may be in contact with them because they told us to refer you guys to that email. So I can give you that email
Mm.
here. Let me just get it. Okay, so you can send an email here. I will also email them about your application and let them know that you were asking a sponsorship. And do you have your licensure in U.S.
Yeah,
in Massachusetts?
recently, this morning I got my Illinois teaching certificate, so I am now certified to teach English language arts teacher for that is pre-K to 12, so from I think it's elementary, middle, and junior high school. It just came out this morning.
And okay, and that's for Massachusetts.
I'm sorry, it's for Illinois. We cannot apply, yeah, teaching certificate in Massachusetts. It's really difficult. I have to go there to apply one. But I am
I
a
see. I
licensed
see.
teacher here in the Philippines.
Okay, so that would be something that I recommend as well. Is a plan for licensure.
Yeah. Maybe I can apply reciprocity. Is that what you call that one?
I'm not sure about that, but you can also ask the recruitment email that I sent in the chat. They can also answer questions about licensure
Okay.
and additional support. Did you have any other questions?
That's it, none so far. But I really hope you do sponsor.
Awesome. So I will send it over to the team and I will let them know that you're asking about the licensure as well as the sponsorship. Um,
Yes, Sir
and
Anthony.
then I will, and
Are you the principal?
oh, so I'm a recruitment fellow for the early hiring pool, right?
I see.
Yeah, so this is the early hiring pool for the entire Boston Public School District and 26 schools. And so this interview is a pre-screening interview to pre-screen you and kind of put through your application. After that, school principals will be able to review for their roles, if you're qualified for their roles or if you're aligned with their roles or their school, an interview as well. And that's at the school level. But this is more of a broad, like a pool, they call it. And you're in the pool, and then principals can see you and basically call you for interviews.
Okay.
Was there anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm happy that we got to meet, and I wish you luck in your securing a position in Boston Public Schools.
I really hope so.
Yeah,
Boston is a very big district. You have a lot of schools.
we do. We have 126.
Yes, I am applying actually to each school last month.
Oh, individual.
Yes, individual.
Mhm. Okay. If you have no more questions early, we have 3 more minutes if you have any other ones.
Yes, I do have. For example, you have sponsorship there in Boston, and I am an international teacher. I really would like to have as a workshop or seminar about students there, what kind of students I will have. Do you have like that, like a professional development or a support so that I can adjust also and know about the students? Do you have like that?
In what aspects? Can you say more?
Um, to getting to know about my students or to know about Boston, for example, what kind of things I need to adjust, what kind of students I will have.
Mm.
Do you have some seminars like that?
I would probably say no, just because students are so diverse. It really varies. Like every classroom is different, and every year is different because the students and families are so diverse. There's really no one way that we could kind of debrief somebody on that, or like boss, or like there's a lot of things set up for you to like acclimate. And when you're a new teacher, there's like new teacher programs, so you might have a mentor teacher,
Oh, I see.
questions like that.
Mhm.
You'll have mentors within your building that are there to field questions like that. There's union reps that you can ask questions like that in your groups, and they'll have like dinners or seminars, and it's just for the new teachers to kind of talk about the nuances. Uh, so there's support in place. It's just not necessarily before it starts, and like for everyone, like an orientation.
I see. Thank you so much.
Of course. Get any other questions, you can feel free to add them onto your email to the recruitment at Boston Public Schools. And that goes to my recruitment and team managers and recruitment coaches that work full time on recruitment and supporting people with getting into BPS.
Hmm.
So they will be able to support you more.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you so much. You have a great evening.
Thank you also, Mr. Anthony.
Thank you. Take care.